So my topic is over Louisville, Kentucky, and why it's the best place to live, to tour, to visit, and all things you can do in Louisville. Um, the reason I chose this was because I've lived in Louisville all my life um, until I came here and lived in Campbellsville to go to school here. It's a big difference, obviously, because now I'm in a small town compared to this large city that I lived in for my whole entire life. And it is different, and I do like the change. It's interesting, but I definitely still love Louisville, and I wish I could go back there. I think after I graduate, that would be great. But even though Louisville is so huge and so big, it takes 30 minutes to get from one end to the other, maybe more. It still sometimes feels like a small town depending on where you are. There's a lot of different little sections of Louisville. For instance, I lived in the Middletown area. There's the Shively area. There's downtown, obviously. There's the western side of Louisville, the southern side of Louisville. And all of those places have even smaller sections, and that would be Middletown for me on the east end. And Middletown is basically based off of Shelbyville Road, and off of that had my church, my home, my school, a Target, a Walmart, the mall, food galore, plenty of things to do on Shelbyville Road. So I didn't have to leave Middletown a lot. I got to know a lot of people through that, so it did seem that everywhere I was going, I did see a person that I knew. And so it did kind of have a smaller town feeling, even though it was a lot busier, a lot more traffic, a lot more people, but it still kind of has the same idea of a small town. There's a lot of things to do in Louisville. That's why it's such a great place to be and to live in, because you have these options to go out and do crazy things, or when you come and visit, you go do those crazy things because that's what you're supposed to do in Louisville. In downtown, there's a walking bridge where you can go across the Ohio River on a bridge. It's a bit of a long walk, but you can get some froyo, some food on the Indiana side, and then walk it off when you come back to your car. There's the great lawn that a lot of people sit out by and bring their dogs and have picnics, and it's also a big place that people sit out for Thunder. Thunder over Louisville is happening next week, actually, and I'm going back for that. Thunder is a beautiful, wonderful, humongous fireworks show. It's number 4 in the nation, so it's a very cool place to be. Lots of people come down for it, lots of food, lots of activities that you can do there. There's also the Louisville Slugger Museum, which is the building with the huge bat, and that's a staple. It's a thing that you have to do when you are there. You get a little tiny Louisville Slugger, you see how those bats are made, you learn a lot about baseball, and it's a really cool thing. And then the bats stadium is close to there, and you can go see a baseball game while you're at it. It's a fun time. And there's also the Speed Art Museum that just reopened. My cousin actually works there, and it's a really cool, huge art museum, and it's very interactive. It's just a very interesting building, and it's a very interesting place to be. My favorite building and my favorite thing of architecture is the Yum Center, honestly. Not just because I'm a Cardinal fan, go Cards, but also because it is just a huge, humongous building that has so many cool curves into the walls, and it's just a marvelous thing to behold. And I love going there for concerts. That's a great thing to do in Louisville, is to go to concerts there. It is expensive, but it is definitely worth it. There's no bad seat in that house. And the Yum Center is a very huge and marvelous thing to behold. There's also Derby, which is a huge thing in Louisville, obviously. Horse race. We get off for Oaks Day, and that's a great thing. A great thing to live in Louisville is if you get off for Oaks Day. And it's very popular to have a party with all your friends, and that's what my family does. And we draw a horse, you get prizes if they win, and you just kind of hang out and have food and celebrate a horse race. And if you have enough money, it's great to go to the race, and that's something cool to do if you're visiting. A lot of people come into Louisville for the Derby. Music is also a huge thing in Louisville, whether it be just for concerts and festivals and fun things like that, or even classical music. U of L, the Cardinal Singers, are number 1 in the world right now. Wonderful choir. I've gotten to sing with them, gotten to sing with Louisville Orchestra with my high school choir and a lot of other choirs, and you have a lot of opportunities when you live there and do things for music. You have a lot of opportunities when you live there. That is a huge thing, and that is great to have in a city, and I think it's great that they offer these things for you and that they encourage you to stay here and encourage you to make a living here, and I think that's wonderful. One last thing is that we have a good split and divide of U of L and UK fans. It is not all U of L fans, not all UK fans, and I think it is great that we can have good, hearty discussions about which sports team is better. I'm not going to get into what sport team is better, but Louisville is the place to live. If you want to go for either team or even other teams, we allow all diversity. We welcome it all. So, Louisville, great place. Please visit. If you're looking for somewhere to live, I encourage it all the way. And I've given you great options and great reasons why. Thanks.